Today on Woodturning, we're going to make something pretty unique. We're going to make a Bongo Bowl.
Tim's American Beauty was made by Robust Tools, America's premier lathe manufacturer. Robust. Built to turn wood. Enjoyed for a lifetime.
Easy Wood Tools, best-in-class carbide wood turning tools. Before we get started on our project today, I want to thank our sponsors, Robust Lathes and Easy Wood Tools, because without their help, we wouldn't be here. And also, if you're looking for a lathe, give me a ring because I'm an authorized Robust dealer. And in addition to that, if you're looking for a hollowing system or other wood turning tools, go to woodturningwithtim.com and look at all the cool stuff that I make in my spare time. Anyway, now to our project. Brian and I were trying to figure out what in the world is this thing? What do you call it? Everything else, a donut bowl, whatever, but boy, it's got some good acoustics. I have no rhythm, but it makes a great bongo bowl, and you can do with it whatever you want. But this is a really cool exercise in form and hollowing. You can see it's got this really nice rounded shape on the bottom. We've got a nice recess that is about 2/3 of the width, and then over here we got that narrow little hole, and this thing is hollow all the way in there. So this is spalted maple that I've been hanging on to for quite a while. So we're going to make our bongo bowl out of this blank, and the first thing we're going to do is to drill a hole for a worm screw so we can hold it on the lathe. When you're drilling a hole for a worm screw, keep in mind the hardness of your wood. This is a little bit softer wood, so I made the hole bigger because these teeth are really aggressive right here. If this was super hardwood, you could not screw the teeth into the wood. So you can see with the maple it gets going. And so I'm turning by hand on the hand wheel. Now I'm going to lock this in. And by locking it in, I can take both hands now and turn the blank on. You also see I've got jaws there that are pretty wide, because I want as much support to the sides as I can get once I have this on here, because this is going to hold this through a lot of turning. There we go, nice and tight. So I'm taking light cuts to round out this blank. It's pretty round to begin with. But since this is a bowl blank orientation, I have end grain coming around towards me. And if I go too quickly or take too much, I'll tear out the grain. And you can see right here, there's a lot of torn grain right there. So I want this to be finished before I start turning the shape. So I'm going to show you a technique here. And I'm going to bring the tool handle way down. And I'm going to bring the edge of the tool in like this. And as I pull, you'll see these little tiny whispers of wood coming off. And I'll stop halfway through here. The tearing out's kind of deep, so it might not show much difference. Oh, look, see how smooth that looks right there, and you can see the tear out there. So this is the way you clean this up before you move on. So once I have this nice and clean, we'll start talking about shape. Now right now I'm doing a push cut to help me remove some wood quickly. Although I'm not really going quickly, I want to take my time on this shape. Get out to the edge, take a little more time. I've kind of got a center point in mind here, so I don't want to hit that yet. And then occasionally I just look at the shape to see how things are going. I come back here. Now, I'm going to do one more pass here. I'm going to do something different. When you get chatter like that, you're probably taking a little too deep of a cut, so just back off and do it in 2 pieces. So I want to hold this from here using the big jaws. And where was it? This one. I always mark on my jaws how far the recess is, or how big it is, and how big the tenon is that I need. So I need a minimum 4 1/4 opening for that recess. So I'm going to take my zero-centered ruler here, find my exact center. I'm going to align the zero up there. So 4 1/2 and half is 2 1/4. So I'm going to go to 2 1/4 mark right there. So now I know that is the minimum recess I need to make, which is good that I figured it out now, because right here I need to establish my foot. I want this to sweep up off the table just a little bit. So I'm going to curve in here, and now we're going to start using a pull cut to refine this shape. And I like the pull cut a lot better than a push cut because I feel like I have more control of it. So I'm just pulling around, and then while I'm pulling, now I'm able to look up at my shape up here and start making the curve the way I want to make it. So I'm going to come out to this edge here and bleed this into the center, because what you're going to have to do in a minute is you're going to have to duplicate this shape on this side. That's the hard part. This is the easy part right now. So now I want to make about, I don't know, 3/16 inch recess, not a quarter, that's too deep. I don't know when I get there. So I'm just taking my carbide here and just clearing out some of the wood. I like the round edge on this, it's kind of nice for doing this. Come in here, we'll just gently get rid of that right there. Work it up and down. This is easy to sand here because this is side grain. If this was in grain, it'd be tougher. And now I'm going to grab my skew real quick. Yeah, there it is. Okay. And come up here and I'm just going to push in to establish my shoulder. And I've canted the tool at an angle so it's going to match the dovetail of the jaws. Now right there is 4.5 inches exactly, so I'm going to come out about 1/8 of an inch because I want a little bit of breathing room here. I don't want it to be too small because then I have to remount the thing and start all over again. Cool, a little bit of sanding and we're going to be working on the inside. Okay, so I've but I've drilled a hole with a Forstner bit to the depth that I need for the bottom of this piece. That gives me something to work off of to establish. It also makes this right here a lot easier. I don't have to be working in this middle. I've got that middle out of the way so this cutter can start with a side edge. So the pencil mark is about 2 3/4 inches wide. That's what I had on the other one. So I'm just working up to it now. And I'm using a straight bar with a 1/4 inch cutting bit in there. A 1/4 inch I feel is really good for moving a lot of wood quickly. And we don't have to worry about any vibration at this point. So my goal with this bar is to take out as much wood as I can with this straight piece. As you can see, there's going to be a point to where I can't get around the shoulder because it's a straight bar. Once that happens, we will switch bars and proceed from there. So I've got a weird setup with the little camera over here and a light so you can see inside, but once we're outside, let's just take a look at this. This is my elbow tool hollowing system. It's articulated, and this is the new curved bar I've come out with. The curved bar is very helpful if you want to make any shape other than a tube. So it allows you to get around the lip of a vessel. And I've set my laser right now to this side because I'm going to be cutting in under the lip here, and I want it to show me the depth here. So you can see the laser is going to drop off like this once I get to the thickness I want on this part of the piece. So it's going to be about like that. Let me start this up. I've got my camera right there, so I'm coming in with the tool like this. I've got to get the edge of the tool in here to make the cut. There we go. That's our thickness. Now, initially, I'll start with this a little bit safe so I don't make it too thin right off the bat. And then I'll come back, I'll move the laser a little bit and make it a little thinner and come back and clean things up. So you can see now I'm going underneath the lip and just judging by where the laser is, I'm this far in right there. Don't let go of that, by the way, while you're turning. Got pointed stuff in. But anyway, I'm just taking little steps of wood, just little chunks at a time. I'm using this arm to pivot the tool, and I'm using my hand up front just to hold it in place. And that's kind of like my fulcrum point. But I can feel how things are going with my fingertips, so I know if I need to adjust a little bit and start to cut in a different spot. But anyway, this is kind of like watching paint dry or me trying to grow hair, so I won't bore you with everything, and I'll just update you periodically as we get further into this. Hear that noise? It's not cutting. There's cutting. But right here, that's shavings. They've built up to this point. And you have to make a habit of regularly cleaning out the shavings. Whoops, there it is. If you don't, it'll grab the tool. Oh, I probably need to put a dust mask on here soon. Probably 30 minutes ago. But anyway, so those shavings will wrap around the tooltip. As you can kind of see, they were all wrapped around the tooltip there, and it'll keep you from cutting. So what do we got going on here? As I keep going into this corner, you can see how extreme of an angle you have to bring the tool in to get up under this lip. This is about the most extreme shape you're going to ever make when you're hollowing. So this curved bar allows you to do that, and I did another thing. I put this tool rest from Robust on here. This is a very long tool rest, so it gives me support all the way, I'll get it in here real quick, all the way out here while I'm at this corner. You can see where I am now. Also, I've taken the base here and I've been sliding it forward as I've turned because the articulation will want to straighten out after a while. And I've even cantilevered it. I've turned it to the side here, so now we can get a super extreme angle. Very few hollowing systems will let you do that. But now we're to the point to where I need to move my laser because I'm going to be working towards this thickness, right? So I'm going to come up here. I need to make this just a little bit longer, bring it out. So you can adjust this length to your tool length, and then up here with this little bitty thing here, it allows you to move this and put it exactly where you want it. So I need this tool tip now to be about, the laser to be off the tooltip end right here like that. So now as I'm going in, when it drops off here, I know what my thickness is. It's going to be like that. So when you get closer to the bottom, keep in mind you're going to be needing the laser on this side. So you just take the laser and you'll move it to this side. So basically when you're hollowing, you're going to move the laser 2 to 3 times. So we started with it on this side to get this thickness, this side to get this thickness, and we're going to move it to here to get the bottom thickness. So I'll just keep slogging away. It's not a race. You just take one bite at a time. That sounds great, but again, it proves I have absolutely no rhythm. So this turned out really, really well. It's a very extreme angle for a hollowing, and I like the way it looks. It's very unique. The bottom is beautiful. Got some burl in here, and all this spalted maple is just really cool. Even got the wormholes right there from the beetles. Let's put a little bit of finish on this. Now, if you want to put finish on the inside, which I did on the other one, I just poured some in and swirled it around, then just stuck a paper towel in there to kind of pick up the excess. So here we go. Whoa. That is incredible. So I'm going to probably put at least 2 to 3 coats of Danish oil on here. Let them soak in, you know. And then it will be nice and done. Maybe put a wax coating on there to protect it a little bit. So that is how you make a Bongo Bowl. Until the next time on Wood Turning, keep turning.
Tim's American Beauty was made by Robust Tools, America's premier lathe manufacturer. Robust. Built to turn wood, enjoyed for a lifetime.
Easy Wood Tools, best in class carbide wood turning tools.